NewsFrathouse has been sued by the state of California for its Activision Blizzard-like culture of discrimination and harassment. No, I got that mixed. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You can like, Jimmy the pause, like that.
This is just state bureaucrats with boredom and too much power, and it's like,
oh yeah.
No, you actually are a pack of assholes.
You have. The
benefit of the doubt here, Craig.
Are you drinking, Craig? Huh? You drinking?
It might be.
A little bit of the nip.
Be his night. Hello, everybody, and welcome aboard to, is it episode 77? Are we on 78?
I think this is 77. Just need to update the date.
77, because I screwed this up. You're right, it is 77. Okay, yes, we are back. It's the Retro Rents, and I am Al.
And I'm Nick.
Oh my god, dude, what's been going on?
Oh, a lot of stuff, apparently.
Yeah, a lot on my end. Holy shit. But you first.
Yeah, so I don't know when was our last episode? Was it beginning of June or July?
It was post lockdown con, yeah.
Post lockdown. That's right. Yeah, we went through some of the initial E3 stuff.
Yep.
And a little while ago, but we're like a lot of games are starting to come out. We're kind of hitting that. I think the 21 stride, so to speak. These are all the either smaller games or whatnot that are on our radars. A lot of it is like passing the time, waiting, eagerly waiting what I've been playing now, but I'll get to that in a second. But I've been playing some Door Kickers 2.
Ooh.
Still in early access. This is a game I talked about. It was at PAX East back in 2020. Yeah, right before lockdown.
Like the last people thing we ever
did.
The
last people thing. That's right. Saw it in the indie section. It has a ton of maps now. It's still incredibly fun. And for if you don't know what it is, basically it's kind of, you think like the old school Rainbow Six, except it's only top down. So if you remember,
it's like a police quest SWAT kind of thing. Yeah,
exactly. It's like, and you can like plan. It's a top down strategy game. Obviously shooter, but you set up like your infiltration team, moves and angles and all this kind of stuff as you go through, and like either like taking out terrorists or trying to rescue a hostage or all this, that, and the other. And you can kind of play it multiple ways. You can like plan every single inch that they're ever going to move, or you can just kind of like freestyle it and just trying to read the situation. And that's been a lot of fun.
Does it kind of move like what was that, Frozen Synapse? You remember that one?
No. So because I think Frozen Synapse has like specific like block movements, right?
Well, yeah, it's like you have a certain amount you can move, and then you move, and the enemy's moving at the same time.
Right.
So like.
So
like that?
No, so this is I'd say completely real time. You do have the ability to pause it, like you can like Jimmy the pause, like that, or you can just let no pause. And there are some challenges for they have like challenge buttons and whatnot for doing a no pause game. But it basically plays out real time. So you could it has like the map starts in a pause mode, so you have a chance to map out their entire flow, or you say screw it, I'm just going to go at it as is. You unpause it, and you can basically it's like a lot of be a lot of mouse clicking of like like go here, but everything's happening real time, so there's no like XCOM style movement mark points or anything like that you have to deal with.
Wow.
Which I think is what which I think you said it's kind of like how Frozen Synapse works.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to check that out. It definitely sounds like something I can get into for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like it's in. I say it's quick little games. Like when you're talking, I think the longest one was like 5 minutes, and it was like a huge map. But you have they have a whole breadth of maps you can play with.
Right.
And they kind of categorize them. So they have a set that's called like literally small rooms, and it's like the size of a small apartment that every single map. And they're all slightly different, either in scenario or just how they're laid out. And eventually, as you successfully do missions, you can also unlock more tools. So like the basic stuff you start your group with is just basically like standard guns and maybe like a door hammer or something like that. Eventually you can unlock like wall breaches. So, it's like you don't have to go through the door. You can just blast open the wall and like stun everybody on the other side of everything. Yeah. So, and then, you can also, like I'm starting to get into like changing up my weapons because like if you use silencers, so like there's is one of the more challenging objectives, not necessarily to beat the map, but again, those bonus objectives is to try and take the compound without raising the alarm. Well, obviously, if you're shooting something loud, they're raising the alarm. Whereas you switch to silencers, and it's like and it's like you're like going into every room, infiltrating, and it's like so cool.
Man, that sounds like something I could really get into.
Oh yeah, like I said, like the fact that it's like quick turnarounds, like you're just quick little games. It's easy to like jump in, jump out. There's no real save states. It does save your movement, so like if you return to the same map, you could be like let's have them go up here instead of like through the bathroom or something like that or whatever. So you can either change it or you can just like replay like your best move ever that you beat it in like 30 seconds or something like that.
That's so cool, man. I'm gonna give that a look. I think when we're done. Definitely sounds like something I'd get into. I love like strategy and tactics games lately. It's like a real obsession. Yeah,
you'd love something like that. And I've gotten back into Astroneer. They just recently released their jet power. I think it's called jet power update. But basically, you get a hoverboard and a VTOL, like kind of like a little shuttlecraft. That you get to fly around. Ooh. So I've jumped back into it again. And this time I'm going to try and beat it. Although I'm distracted by other games, but I got pretty far in it, and they have a whole new reward system too. Where previously it was just kind of like you kind of go at the game at your own pace and figure it all out and whatnot. But now it's like you have a mission board, so you can still do that. But if you have the mission board, it kind of guides you in like, hey, if you do this thing, you also get this like little reward, and it makes it so much easier for like repeat play, or I'd say even
that's slick.
Yeah, even like a new player, because like I was always the thing like playing it even as a veteran of Astroneer, it's like if a new person comes in, they really have no idea what they're doing. Like there's no tutorial. You're just dropping.
Yeah, it really does throw you to the wall.
Whereas if you figure out, if you look at the mission board, you can kind of see like, okay, hey, collect this, build this thing. And it's like, okay, go do these things, and it kind of guides you along. Like if you try to do that, then eventually you'll get, not only the hang of the game, but you also get some stuff to kind of help boost you along and make things a little more comfortable as it goes along. So again, it's still very, very awesomely chill game. Supposedly there's 2 more updates. I don't think they have dates or what they are yet. But kind of their roadmap they planned out. They had this big thing with the mission was big power, so they have huge like wind turbines now, which was really cool looking. And then this most recent jet power update, which again, like the hoverboard is like hilarious to like zoom around on and whatnot. It's just absolutely awesome.
I'm gonna have to get back into that because you got me into that. I want to say around this time last year. Yeah, I think that they had hit their 1.0 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's about like I looked at my market like before I logged on. My last save was about a year and a half ago, and it was just before I think they put in the big power update or somewhere around that time. So again, it's good. I'd say it's a great time to get in Astroneer because the VTOL is just so much fun, and they have actually added in new community challenges. But there's a new device now that kind of picking up the what other games are doing in terms of the seasonality stuff. And basically it's like if you dump, it's a lot of resources. So it's very much like you've unlocked everything and you just have all these factory, like you have factories now.
Assembly lines going.
Yeah. You can collect them and stuff them into this rocket and you launch it with like 240 items of, the same thing. And it comes back with some rewards and some like, new cosmetic stuff. And so I think that's kind of their go forward of like, keeping the game, I say alive and fresh, just something to come back to. And I think it's been great. It's, it's like, oh, that's actually pretty clever. It's like, it does something for the community without drastically altering the game and still makes it relevant and fun.
Well, I am gonna have to get back into that because I've been looking to get into like a builder or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. And again, it's just, it's that still same Astroneer just being super chill game, and zen. So zen. Exactly.
Yeah, no, I loved my experience with that. It was a good time. But no, I've been on a big JRPG kick lately. A friend of mine, we always kind of play similar RPGs, and we're like, hey, did you play this series yet? And I hadn't. And she was like, is this acquaintance, I'll say, Denise over in the Future Monkeys channel. We always talk with JRPGs, and I heard her, or I saw her on Discord talking to somebody about Legends of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel. And I was like, I bought that game. I remember buying that game, and I was following the discussion, and it was like, all right, JRPG. I like JRPGs, but I didn't know if I was in the mood for the time commitment. And then somebody said, oh, and it's got like this Persona vibe with the social aspect where you build up bonds with the party characters on like off days. So long story short, I get into this game. I'm 80 hours into it now. And it's the first of 4 games. And these are big, epic, sweeping RPGs that concern a handful of school students from a military academy in this special class called Class 7. And it's a unique curriculum in comparison to the rest of the academy and all that. And the story is so good. And the characters are so solidly written. That's usually where Japanese RPGs lose me a little bit. Sometimes it'll be a great story, but the characters are kind of, paper cutouts, or vice versa. The characters might be great, but the story's kind of shit. It's rare one of these really hits both of those beats for me. And like, this is great. Like, each of the characters are really, really deep. And like, as they become, friends, and like they come from different backgrounds and there's rivalries because of that. Like, it's just very believable writing for, teenaged, maybe they're probably like high school-ish aged kids that are actually like fighting and stuff. Like, there's like, things are on the brink of war, and there's a whole, like, you do these field studies which involve like monster hunting for the local, person where you go to, and like, it's like you go on a field trip to do these missions in like different towns and stuff. It's wonderful the way they've set the game story up. And like, there's a whole element to it with like, they call it the Arcus, and you have these like gems. They're kind of like materia that you put into like slots and stuff, and it can unlock different skills the more you level it up. It reminded me of Final Fantasy VII's materia.
Ah, okay, yeah.
And the combat is like turn-based, really strategic in that you can form these combat links with different characters. So you can link up with one person, and then you can start doing moves in tandem. Like, you'll hit a critical hit, and then you can press a button, and the other person will come in, and they'll take a swing at the same time. Like, it really mixes it up, and like, the enemies have different strengths and weaknesses. I mean, needless to say, I'm 80 hours into it. Like, I'm all in on this game.
Yeah.
And I think I'm getting close to the end, and I am so excited to like follow these characters' story throughout all 4 games. Because as I understand it, it sticks with the same characters. And like, I've grown so attached to the characters in this story. I'm just like, man, this is going to be a wild ride. I'm really loving it. Legends of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel, fantastic. And then like nighttime, if I'm just chilling, my brother-in-law and I picked up at the same time Monster Hunter Stories 2 on the Switch, and that's a great little game. It's another kind of like Pokemon for grown-ups. But in the Monster Hunter, legendarium, in that world. But it's more of a turn-based RPG than like a Souls-like action. I hate Souls-likes. But yeah, it's normally like a harder action hunting game. And so I'm loving the turn-based RPG aspect of it, and the collection of like different monster eggs, and there's like a breeding mechanic. Like, the story's all right. Like, it's not great, but it's enough with the numerous game engines they have in this that it really makes it fun. So I've been kind of enjoying that, like, as a pick up and put down kind of game.
Gotcha.
And, that's been keeping me busy. Not as much as life. Yeah, it's been a little crazy. August 9th is going to be my last day at GitHub.
Ah.
Yeah, it was a wild, wild ride and a great run. But I have a even bigger opportunity under my former first manager from GitHub, working for a company out of Cambridge, again fully remote, and I'm really, really looking forward to, kind of this next step, mainly because I get a full 2 weeks between jobs.
Oh yeah, that's so nice when you can just like just decompress, unwind, reset.
Like I don't have to check Slack. I don't have to check email. Like unfortunately, like with my job, being kind of up the ladder where I'm at and the programs that I run, unfortunately, and this is my own bad habits, I really need to learn to unplug sometimes, but like I'm always kind of peeking, just making sure there ain't any fires that need to be put out.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, it's like I'm gonna have 2 weeks of just relaxing, spending time with the family, and kind of like detoxing from the last job before I start the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm leaving, GitHub on a very high note. I'm very sorry to go. Like, just the friends that I've met there and the people there are just some of the most brilliant, giving, empathetic people I think I've ever worked with. And yeah, it was a blast of 2 years. But kind of onward and upward, and hopefully I'll leave the door wide and open, and who knows what the future holds, and we'll go from there. But I'm excited about kind of this next step.
Nice. Yeah, congratulations, by the way.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Like I said, I'm more than anything just looking forward to the time off.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, just like because it sounded like near the end you were just getting rolled on the rails.
Oh, that's one way to put it, man. It has been a very long month, 2 months. I need the rest. I really do need the rest and the unplug, and it's going to do a world of good for my head, my body, and my family, just to like unwind and spend some quality time with them before the kids go back to school and stuff. And but yeah, it'll be great.
Nice.
Yeah. So all right, let's look at release highlights here, because you piqued my interest, because I thought this was already out.
Yeah. So it finally released just this week, fully, I should say. Tribes of Midgard. What it was is they've been doing betas. They've been doing betas for like basically since I followed them again. This is another going back to PAX. This goes back 5 years, I think, when I saw them. I think at a PAX East.
Been around a while.
Yeah, they were like a small indie dev that have been following for the past 5 years, and they've had on and off like betas, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the game that I'm getting interested in. It's like I'm liking where this is going. And they've added a ton in like I think the past year or so in ramp up the launch. Definitely a lot more than what the base game was 5 years ago. But yeah, now it's out. I've been kind of binging it like crazy. I usually
worth the pickup.
Yeah, I would say at $20, like it's a $20 game. $30 if you want to splurge for the deluxe and get a fancy, fancy cosmetic
soundtrack.
There's no soundtrack. There's like one track. It's not bad, but it doesn't get very repetitive. I do wish there was more music.
That's what Spotify is for.
I know, right? Yeah, it's like you don't necessarily want to turn it off, but after it loops several times, you're like, okay, I need something like fresh. Come on. But
just put on some Wardruna and you got all the Viking.
Exactly. There's some there's plenty of Viking music out there that you can put on. And obviously, yeah, Tribes of Midgard. So it's very much like a Norse style thematic game, and oh man, it's so fun. So to describe it, it's a top down kind of like Diablo-esque style gameplay. There are several classes that you can equip into. I say it's percent across your account in terms of like unlocks and whatnot. But each gameplay is its own, start from zero session, but it's very fast play. So it's not in the sense of like Diablo or other top downs where it's like, you get up to like, level 100 and you have all this crazy gear and all this other stuff. It's a little different in that, when you start in the world, you basically start at day zero, and then you basically got to scramble for supplies to build tools or weapons, and you go back to your village, you can build up your village defenses. So it combines a lot of like gaming aspects from, kind of like tower defense style for your village, because it gets attacked every night. There's like, a little block of time where, basically these hell things come out and they regular attack your village.
Oh, I remember you talking about this one now.
Yeah. And so you have to you have to defend it, and or you can set up more defenses to help you defend it. Obviously if you have, your own weapons and whatnot leveled up, then you can go out and, kick ass with like a tier 3 level sword or what have you. And you go out and like also over this time period, there's these Jotuns that will march steadily towards your village as well. So you not only have the nighttime attacks that happen at regular intervals, you have this Jotun that takes about 4 to 5 days to like walk its way towards your village.
Oh dear God!
And if it gets there, it's gonna smash. Basically, at the center of your village is the tree of Yggdrasil, and so if the tree drops to 0, game over, and your village is done. So you can choose to like go out early, send out a scouting party, like find where the Jotun's at, and then attack him in the field, or you can also wait for him to get closer and then, maybe use your village defenses to try and do it. But that's a gamble of a play, because if your village defenses, are blown through, then, the Jotun just marches in. And it's up to 10 players. So this is another like big thing. So you can have up to 10 people playing in a group.
Oh.
Which is fantastic. So it's great for playing with friends. And I would say it's an absolute must. You can play it solo. It's not bad. It does scale a little bit oddly. I think like there are certain numbers that make it more difficult. So if it's like 2 to 3 people, it's a little difficult. 4 and 5 are good. 6, 7 gets weird, but then 8, 9, 10, it's like really good again. So I think they need to adjust it just ever so slightly, but again, it's the first week, so it's still serviceable. And so
you got it on PC?
Yeah, I got it on Steam on PC. You can also get it on PlayStation. I think there's cross compatibility, but don't quote me on that. So there's several ways to play. You can just go in, fight a Jotun. Usually that's around about 45 minutes or so it takes to survive like 3 or 4 days, find the Jotun, kill him in the field quickly enough. On average, anywhere from 30 if you're like really on target, to about 45 minutes if it's kind of mediocre players that you're playing with in public or something like that. Nice. And so you can kill at least one Jotun in 45 minutes. Longer, and then it's like then you can choose to hop out of the game, save your progress. You get like horns that are used as kind of like the currency every time you can defeat a Jotun, and basically cash out with your winnings. Or you can try and go longer, and obviously the game becomes more and more difficult. The days become shorter as eternal winter is upon you in the village. So like day 1 through 3, it's like you have a lot of daylight to work with. Day 10, like you're down to like a sliver of daylight to work with, and the cold starts to set in, so there's like temperature effects. So if you go into the desert, you're burning up. If you go into the high mountains, you're freezing to death unless you have like proper equipment or potions.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, again, your village is constantly attacked both by the hell things, and then more Jotuns will continually show up. I think there's been like if you go, depending on how long you make it, more or less like within 10 days, you'll have fought like 3 to 4 Jotuns. And then you can also try and go for the really high end game saga quest. So you have to try and get all these parts together to build like this huge bridge and unlock the lair of Fenrir. That's very much like you have to be hyper coordinated to make it that far. So I'd say there's a lot of depth. Like it seems like again, $20. It's like at a grind level, it's a relatively short game, but at the same time, it's that replayability of like, because again, every time you go back into the game, you're starting at day 0, starting the village over again.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, what are you trying to do? Are you just, trying to survive? How, find out how long you can survive? Maybe just how fast we can kill Jotun. Are you unlocking other things? Like some of the classes are locked behind, I say achievements, but it's like, I'm still working on some, but like one of them's like hit 25 enemies in 10 seconds to unlock the berserker type of thing.
I'm gonna have to give this a try.
But yeah, like I said, it is a total blast to like jump in and play. I'd say very intuitive. Once you get the hang of it, and there's kind of a process you go through. But yeah, at $20 is like, I don't think it can go wrong. And they've also said it, again, it's another season game, but there's no buy-in for there's no season pass or anything like that. So it's like $20 is $20. They do have a microtransaction system but it's mostly cosmetics. So it's like, you want to throw extra money for a cool looking thing, go at it. If not,
it's perfect.
It's not affecting your gameplay. Yeah. So nice.
Well, speaking of affecting your gameplay, we have to talk about.
Oh yeah.
A frat house has been sued by the state of California for its Activision Blizzard-like culture of discrimination and harassment. No, I got that mixed. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
What in the
my goodness.
hell? Can you just stop being scumbags? I'm sorry, man. I've been following Jason Schreier for quite some time, and he has. Oh, hold on. I think my dog just opened my office door. Give me 2 seconds. I can
no problem.
Out of my office. All right. Sorry about that. Edit that in post. Yeah, but yeah. So obviously, I mean, everyone's well aware of it now. The big story broke. The state of California is suing Activision Blizzard for an incredibly hostile work environment to the point where it is violating California labor law, culture of discrimination, harassment, and all around fucking horror stories, man. My God.
Yeah, it's like the dumpster fire.
It's so bad. And what made it worse, you look at this statement, what's her face? I don't know if she's the new head of legal. I had basically called out. She was like, all these allegations are baseless, and the leadership board sent out this really hostile. This is just state bureaucrats with boredom and too much power, and it's like,
oh yeah.
No, you actually are a pack of assholes.
You have a lot of not to say Tom, but you have a considerable amount of employees seemingly coming forward with just stories of these things happening, and the more you read into it, like all the execs had a different. That's the other scary part. Is no one was on the same page. They're all
frightening, dude.
Yeah, just completely different tack from every single one of them. Some are more okay, yeah, it's we got to do better, but your example, her letter. Now the thing is, chances are these are probably all legalese, to hell and back type of thing. They just put their name on it as I want to send that type of message.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, that doesn't excuse sending out something because that just comes across completely tone deaf. And she's only been there, I think it was 4 months, right?
Yeah, she was there 4 months.
Yeah, it's
not the Activision I know, and it's
you barely know the Activation right now. It's how can you even say that? This is something that has probably been happening and has been happening for years.
It has been happening for the past 15 years. From what I read.
Yeah, it's how can you say that? How in the world can you say that? And people are still saying this is still going on. It's it comes across completely tone deaf. Completely.
And not only that, you look at the firm that the overpaid executive Bobby Kotick.
Oh man! Oh yeah.
The law firm he hires to investigate it is notorious for breaking up unionization efforts, walkout efforts. They're the ones that shut down the Amazon workers that we're talking about forming a union. I have no opinion either way, to be honest with you, but it's not a fucking good look for your company when you say we're going to change our ways and you hire people that are basically on the job to shut people up.
Yeah. And here's the kicker, and I've seen it firsthand myself, outside, the gaming sphere. It's this happens in the corporate world too, I think.
Absolutely.
And it's and I think I may have mentioned here, I won't mention names, but it's at a previous company I worked at, I had some coworkers. She basically coming to me in tears, one day, and it wasn't, fortunately, I say fortunately, it wasn't the level of groping or anything like that. But it, basically, one of the execs was basically tossed down his credit card, called her into his office, tossed down his credit cards, go get me a sandwich.
Wow.
Yeah, and just like continual, just like basically trying to use her as like a personal assistant when like that was nowhere near like what her title was, what she was there to do. And he basically did with almost all the female staff. Like once I got wind of this and like started paying attention to like meetings and whatnot, I was like he'd always send them out to like get food or whatever. It got to the point where it's like it's like early on it's like he's like you know what, I'll get this. Like I don't need to be in this meeting. They need to be here because like they they're the subject matter experts. Let me go get the food. And he's like, are you sure? He's like, yes.
Oh my god.
And eventually it got so bad that three now granted we were middle managers, like we it's like we had no power, but three middle managers, we went up to the executive above him.
Yeah, like, skip level.
Yeah, we skipped a level, and like we were on good terms with them, so it wasn't like they didn't know us or anything. So, but like three of us went to him at the same time and discussed like there was like issues with this guy. Like he was like torpedoing client meetings left and right as well. Like he was just a terrible like I think it was basically a VP above us.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, yeah, we'll take it into consideration, and it's like, oh, blah blah blah, and we'll get HR involved. Here's the thing: HR is not out to help you.
I was going to say, I have a very familiar experience recently with that.
HR is out to protect the company. They are not out to protect you.
Not there for you.
Despite all the, like, I think it's like you see it everywhere in the corporate world, and depending on how big, whatever you may be working for.
If you need to report a problem,
you need to report a problem. Report it to HR. We're going to help you. And like, no. They will literally like they will make sure the problem goes away, and it's like you are the problem is what it is, and so they won't fire you. It's not like that. They'll just basically they sweep it under the rug, and it's like the problem will just we'll little slap on the wrist, and problem will go away. Well, make a long story short, basically I left the company. Several other people left the company at the same time. I think even the coworker that was in tears left. 4 months later, he was fired. So,
wow.
Message sent.
Yeah, no shit.
And I think certainly this is probably I don't know if people are necessarily leaving. I'm sure many have probably left Blizzard.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
But I think the reckoning is coming for Blizzard.
It's like the guy that the developer, the lead creative, whatever guy on World of Warcraft, was like quietly let go last year, and yet this is all baseless. Like, yeah, you sure about that?
Are you sure?
Oh, it's just such a mess, man. And like, I've seen it. It's like you said, I've seen it in jobs, and even companies that like to really shine that light of we're gonna do the right thing. I've never trusted HR, man. And no matter how good the company is, they're out. How good they say they want to be, HR is out to protect the company that they work for.
Yeah.
And it's just really unfortunate because that's what creates environments like this. And it's not just the gaming world, man. This happens in the corporate world, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the reason why. Like, when it is not in that kind of division's interest to do the right thing, they're not going to do the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, there are companies out there that do promote a culture of inclusiveness and actually defending women and minorities.
Sure.
And this isn't like every corporate entity out there is going to screw you over. But the thing is, they've let this culture fester. They didn't nail it on the head when it first propped up however many years ago. And so it persisted, and that's the thing. Like, it was basically allowed to continue because there was no do not do this and promote a culture of just like civility.
Like you even saw it with that Q&A panel video that made its rounds from like 2010. A woman in the crowd had a great question. Like, it would be great to see some female characters that didn't look like they came out of a Victoria's Secret catalog.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the people in the panel was like, well, what catalog should she look like she came out of? Like, dude, like, I get that like people have, maybe are more aware now, but it wasn't that long ago, dude. 2012 was not that long ago, and I can tell you even then you knew that shit was wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
But and that's the thing I don't think some companies realize is that will eventually, especially if it comes out, that is going to hit your bottom line, and we're seeing that. Like we are seeing that right now. On your next news point, which is like tons of World of Warcraft players are just leaving it to go to Final Fantasy 14.
And the hilarious part, I put this in. It was basically, I think, at the beginning of July. It was almost soon after our last podcast, and so it was before this California thing dropped. So it was basically like there has been a mass exodus to 14, which has been hilarious to watch because. Basically, I think it was just after, I think it was around July 4th weekend, which go figure, it's a holiday weekend. Final Fantasy 14 actually ran out of digital licenses. You could not purchase any more licenses. Now they fixed it. But it was like, and it's at the weirdest time because I was talking with some other players, and they're like, "Yeah, this is really uncanny because no new content has dropped." Now they are dropping an expansion, I think, at the end of the year,
November, right?
Yeah. It's basically for the holidays, so nothing's come out. It's kind of the lull. It's the summer, which is like, usually like the,
like an event once in a while.
Obviously they have like, stuff that happens, but nothing major that would bring people in. Usually it's like an expansion or some huge things happening which would promote, player influx. It's just happening naturally because, players were getting so fed up with, again, prior to the discrimination, the lawsuit, it was just like people were getting fed up with the last expansion. It was just so phoned in, just like ho hum,
awful.
And the players were just, they were looking for something new, and I think we were kind of talking about this a little bit in terms of like it's like we were we're kind of seeing Warcraft kind of waver. It's been on a downward trend. Nothing severe, but now with the lawsuit, now it's like everything's taking a nosedive. Everyone's jumping out. Like content creators are just like it's like no more. I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah.
And two things are happening. One, Final Fantasy 14 is absolutely exploding. So most of your players
if you've never played it, it's a fantastic game.
Yeah, I'm looking to get into it myself. I kind of want to get through some of the games that are coming out in the next 2 weeks or next month or so, and then I'll probably like try and jump in and check it out before the expansion, hopefully. But obviously that's drawing like a huge crowd. I'd say and especially your PvE style players for MMOs, that's where they're going. Yeah. 2, we have New World coming out, which seems to be doing okay. Like
I'm hearing a lot of mixed.
A lot of mixed. Okay.
Aside from it frying new video cards.
Oh there is that. I did hear that. Yeah.
No, I've heard a lot of people I know that are actually playing it were like, it was cool initially, but the grind, even though this is like a sneak peek, is really frustrating.
Oh, are people hitting? Okay, because like it seemed like that initial like week or so, I was watching some streams and like they they're conquering things and the PvP seemed decent. But okay, so they're basically hitting the grind wall now, and now like people are like meh.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I understand. I have no experience playing it myself. I'll wait, see what happens after release.
It's been interesting to watch. It's not a game for me. Like again, the fact that it's strictly PvP, it's like I don't know. I'm not necessarily looking for that in an MMO style. It's one of those like I'll turn it on and watch someone watch a stream or something like do that to see where it goes, and that's interesting fun because that's kind of the other thing I noticed is unless you're like in a mega guild or part of a decent larger part of a larger faction or something like that. You're gonna get rolled. It's the standard, kind of, world v world tactics.
It's like Shadowbane, Dark Age Camelot. It's like
exactly. So if that's your bag, then it's like, I'd say it's probably something to at least keep an eye on. But for me, it's like, I'm not looking to be part of, another peon in a large super guild. They're fun to a point, but it's not my bag.
It was fun when I was younger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like it's just not my bag. So I'll keep an eye out. But so basically, 14's take. I think it does have PvP elements in 14 too. But I would wager a large PvE crowd is going there. The PvP crowd of Warcraft is now going to New World, and at this point, Warcraft is just deflating.
Not only is 14 a wonderful PvE game, it is a wonderful soloable experience, kind of like Lotro is for me, where you can absolutely, get with your friends, and I think they're called like Frontier. I forget what it's called. You can join, your friends and stuff like that in guilds, but it's got a great story for each class and each race.
Yeah,
and it's a really cool world. It's interesting. A lot of people are like, oh, it doesn't get good until you beat up to the expansion, but I think I'm 40, 50 levels in, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the story. I'm enjoying the quest. It's a building a story. And I guess as you get towards the newer content, it gets really, really epic. But it's a solid RPG. That's a great Final Fantasy game, much less multiplayer experience. So I could see why people are finding it.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying it's like if you're a fan of JRPGs, it has a JRPG story mode in it that I've been told, and it's I'm looking forward to. It's okay, cool. I got a nice little story. I have heard the same things, basically get past the initial storyline, get to level 40 or whatever, and then the story gets really good.
But again, I'm enjoying this initial story climb.
Yeah, sure.
I've played much worse. We'll put it that way.
yeah. That's the thing. There's probably, I'm sure there's worse out there. So
yeah, no, it's totally worth a peek. In fact, I just re-upped my sub a little while ago, and I'm probably gonna start logging in. And within probably on that 2 weeks off, I really want to dive into it again. But it's fun. But and then the next item.
Yes. Oh yes.
Steam Deck debut of Steam's handheld game system. This is where I think Steam is finally going to get it right. It's a handheld, powerful gaming platform that they're touting, at least up to this point, could play any game in your Steam library.
I'm curious on what that means. I've been reading up on some of it. Some of it may, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't need a million FPS, although it is nice. But I think one of the statements is basically it'll run things at least 30 FPS, depending on what you're trying to do. I'm still curious on the strength of it, though. Yeah.
Oh, me too. And for me, I'm not looking to play Warframe on this thing. Sorry, Jeremy.
Oh no. Is that on Steam?
Warframe? Yeah, that's how.
Okay. Oh, okay. I thought for some reason I thought it was its own launcher thing.
Pretty sure. I could be talking out of my ass right now. But no, what I would use it for is exactly what I'm playing right now. I'd love to go play Trails of Cold Steel out of my sofa. The JRPGs and stuff that I play, this thing is perfect. So I'm definitely geared up for this. I may have reserved the top end model because I really wanted that solid state.
I kind of did too.
You know what I mean? You can fucking do this. Let's do this.
That's the thing. I saw it's and a lot of people give Steam grief. It's all their previous products are so clunky or whatever. It's yeah, I didn't get the controller. It's it's whatever. I don't need a controller for my PC.
Just give me my Steam Switch.
But I know I think the Steam controllers for VR are apparently some of the best out there. I haven't been able to play it, but I've been eyeballing it in terms of upgrading my VR system once I see a good VR game.
Sure.
But yeah, this looks, again, it looks pretty solid. My laptop's getting so aged that it's having a hard time running anything. So for me, it's more that laptop replacement for mobile games.
I would love to sit out in my living room.
Yeah,
and
exactly
play some of the JRPGs I got in my library and just chill on my couch.
And it's if you play on a laptop, then you're it doesn't make sense for you to probably pick this up. But it's if you're coming up on a upgrade or in between, or you're looking for that mobile gaming device, and now you can play your Steam games on. It's why not?
Yeah, no, I'm all in on this. It's like I said, I think Steam made a mistake trying to go for the console market because again, it was one of those. If I want to play a console game, I got a powerful console. I don't necessarily want to play my Steam games on a console.
Right.
the reason that handheld works for me, and it really might just be the style of games that I'm into right now. And that's, I'm playing a lot of RPGs, games like Diablo, like they've already proven themselves 10 times over on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that I have a huge Steam library with a huge backlog of RPGs, like this thing's a no-brainer for me. So yeah, no, I'm definitely looking to grab it. And then there was this release announcement since we got on here last, and this baffles the shit out of me. I'm sorry. The new OLED OLED.
Oh yeah.
Which
I mean, Nintendo kind of did this with was it the Wii 2, or they did some kind of like micro upgrade on
well,
one
they
of
did
them.
the Switch to the Switch Lite.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But now they're doing
just a fully portable, undockable model. But now they're just doing I don't get this, man.
Like I don't even know. It's like Switch something, Switch Plus, Switch.
Yeah.
Switch, I don't know.
I forget what the name is. Like I honestly saw it and I was just like, no.
I may actually hold out for this because I haven't gotten to Switch yet, so I may hold out.
If you haven't gotten to Switch, then it makes sense.
But at the same time, it's like, from a perspective, like, any kind of like, should I get this if I already have it? It's like, not really.
No, it doesn't make sense if you already have a Switch. It really doesn't. Like the whole, it's 64 gigs of storage now. Yeah, you can go get a micro SD card.
Whoop-a-de-doo.
And put it right into your Switch. Yeah. You don't need this. So it's kind of like, I mean, give them an A for trying, but
yeah, because I do need to pick up one. I think we talked about it last time. Let me just make sure. Well, we'll talk about it this time. Metroid.
Yeah, we talked about it last time.
Yeah. Metroid, Prime 5, Metroid Dread. It's like, okay, I'm definitely gonna have to get it by that point. And obviously, there's a good backlog to the Switch library. It's like it's doing very well. So it's like I think I might try and hold out for that, and hopefully they have enough supply. It's like, please don't have supply problems. please. Like, because Nintendo's notorious about having supply problems, period.
Oh, yeah. Then you figure the market's still got a squeeze on all this components right now. So
yeah, exactly. It's like compound on Nintendo's, it's like, because they seriously do. And I think there's a documentary about it, but they operate like a toy company, and toy companies operate on limited product. That's how they work. And it's like, I hate it. That's the only part I hate about Nintendo, is how they do it. It's like, just operate like a tech company, build enough. COVID, supply problems notwithstanding, it's like, come on, Nintendo, don't do this.
You don't need to strangle the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. But the next one I have no answer for. Did you get an answer on this?
We did.
EA showing?
Yeah, so we can kind of dip into that. So EA had their show on the 22nd. Kind of the lead up was like, what are they going to show? Because they had actually a lot of their I say their games, but like the people in charge of their games saying like, we're not showing anything at the EA. So BioWare said they're not showing any Mass Effect or Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Star Wars said, we're not showing anything. So it's like, what's left? It's like Battlefield and Spurts Ball. So they had a few things. Let me get down to it. EA Live. So
we got Grid Legends, Apex Legends Emergence. I haven't played Apex in
so it's mostly like, okay, we have new stuff coming out for the games we have. Grid Legends was a racing game. It's like, okay, it looks great. I don't know. It just pales in comparison, I feel, to Forza right now. It's like I think Forza got you on that one. Again, more updates to Knockout City is like a dodgeball game that's already
out. It's a very fun game. Yeah, I've been playing that one off now with my kids.
They did reveal
Battlefield
Portal mode, which was really interesting. It's like you can basically custom create whatever kind of match thing you want. It's like they kind of advertise, like if you want 100% robots versus one tank, kind of like a million ducks versus a pony type of thing. Who would win? You could mix and match from, I think, most of the Battlefield franchise, at least like Bad Company 2, the newer Battlefields, and then like Battlefield 3. So you could have like you could have like a World War II unit fight the modern troopers. So they had it
certainly looks interesting. That caught my eye.
I'm curious to see where this goes. Like, is this going to be something that they're going to support in the sense of like you can go into the main, your match selector and like give me a random portal mode, and that's going to be on
that would be sweet.
EA server, or it certainly looked like it was set up so that the community could help run this. So like you'd rent servers, type of thing.
Right.
So is it going to be left up to the community to build these things, or host like the servers, or is EA going to support it ultimately in the end? And how long is this going to last? Because it's like that's a neat thing on a random
on the surface. Like, is it something that's going to have staying power?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the question now. So it's like it's got my interest. I want to see more. Absolutely. But it's like, where's it go? But they did leave.
Was the Dead Space remake?
Yes. I thought this was going to be Dead Space 4, but it is a remake. It kind of slash reboot.
I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I was too. It's like missed opportunity maybe. But it's like I'll keep an eye on it. I'll see where it goes. But
I'll definitely play that again. Christ, I remember those summers, Nick.
Oh yeah,
all day down in my parents' basement.
It's like terrified to death.
Especially after nightfall. Get back from the Thai place.
Oh yeah.
Drinks in them, and
the
we're playing
sweats
Dead Space on the big screen. Screaming, that was great. Yeah, I'll definitely play that again, no doubt. Oh yeah, I saw this too. Casey Hudson, former GM of BioWare, has his new studio, Humanoid. No games yet, but that's obviously something to keep an eye on. Mm-hmm. One thing we don't have noted in here, speaking of new studios, did you see Interplay is coming back?
I caught that, yeah, like on Twitter, like so they teased like the logo. I'm like, hello, what's this?
Yeah, and Brian Fargo was like, no, In Exile's not involved with them. Because In Exile's a lot of former Inter players. But it's interesting. I'd be interested to see, especially with some of the intellectual properties that are under that banner. I would love to see what they do. If I remember, like, they had some of the Star Trek games.
Yeah, you're right.
They had, what was Interplay Entertainment? I just want to find, there was one of the IPs that I really, really loved. And of course Black Isle was part of them. So, was that the first Baldur's Gate? If I remember right. Yeah, Icewind Dale and Baldur's Gate. So there's a lot of cool potential here. I mean, obviously, the Divinity developers have Baldur's Gate now, so who knows what will happen there. But
yeah, I'm curious because it's like I mean, going through the list here, you got Baldur's Gate, Earthworm Jim. I think it's still with them, or like I want to say I saw Microsoft maybe.
No, I think Microsoft has Jim now.
I think Fallout series, obviously, Fallout is now in the hands of Bethesda / Microsoft, but
Planescape. I'd love to see a new Planescape.
Planescape. Yeah.
And I know that Black Isle Studios is releasing, and I was very intrigued by this. A re-release of they already released it. I'm sorry, that's a different one. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, the re-release of that, or the remake of that, and that's pretty good. All right, what else? Let me see. What else? All right, I think that was it I had on new studios. Nature is healing. This one might be a little out of date, Nick. And CPU hardware is slowly becoming more available. Prices returning to normal. Normalcy by the fall or end of year? No. Thank you, Delta variant.
Yeah, I know. It's like, no, we're back to we're heading back to the dark ages again. It's like, great, thank you, wonderful.
Yeah,
get vaccinated.
Get your fucking shots. Yeah, now I've been waiting, and I'm kind of going to be disappointed / pissed off if they don't. But I think it's a matter of time before my kid's school calls and we're going to start the year off remotely. I mean, we're not doing too bad out this way. I mean, we could be Florida. Holy shit.
Yeah. But yeah, I saw like PA's numbers are starting to go up. I think it was like 1,000 or something, 1,000 plus.
Going up, which is fucking exciting.
Yeah.
I'm so over this shit. But my mother-in-law called it. She's like, "This is going to be a 3-year ordeal." It's just until they get the cycle of vaccines, boosters, and someone's eventually just going to have to say, like, I mean, I don't know. Again, I hate getting into politics too much, but like, people getting all up in arms about this, like, I had to give my kids immunization records to get them into school, and that was before COVID. This is nothing new.
Yeah, that's the thing, and like for the older generation that might be holding out or something, it's like probably as a kid, you probably got immunized against a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
Like,
hello, polio.
Yeah. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's
that's
weird...
the crazy part. I mean, I was having a conversation with my parents about this, like, and we were talking about exactly that. It's like polio, measles, all that kind of stuff. It's like, for the most part, eliminated. Obviously, I think polio exists in a very small amount out in the world. Measles, though, it's like obviously like there was a crazy comeback.
Was gone.
It was almost gone in the U.S. and then it started to come back because of the non-vaxxer movement.
Thank you, internet forums. Like, again, the internet's a beautiful thing, but the worst thing it ever did was allow everybody's drunk uncle to hook up in the same place, and oh my god, they actually think they're right.
Yeah,
and it's oh god, we could talk for hours on that shit.
Oh yeah, it's
go get your fucking shots. I want to go back to like fucking concerts and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck. And this one, oh my god. Skull and Bones. This is gonna be
Yeah, it's like I was curious, like we didn't see anything from Ubisoft on this. It's kind of like fell back under the radar, and recent article.
You and I were asking about it at E3. We were pretty
it's like are we gonna see anything about this? And it seems to be like in development hell / who knows if it ever makes it makes the live day again, which is unfortunate.
One of my soon to be former coworkers, a good friend of mine, he's a TPM as well at GitHub, and he actually worked on GTA 5. He was one of the main drivers on getting that game released and developed and all that, so he knows his shit. He came from the gaming industry, came from Rockstar, and he's like, yeah, I've heard from a couple people, it's not going so well. It's a shame too, because I remember when you and I first saw that. We were pretty we got pretty pumped. Nick and I we love pirate stuff. At the time, like it was kind of I think it started out as like an expansion to Assassin's Creed 4 or something in that universe, and then it became like it was going to be its own thing, which sounded even cooler. And then it just went radio silent, and now we understand why. It just sounds like it has faced, I think, 5 different reboots, different visions. Once again, too many, chiefs in the kitchen, and just no solid vision behind it. So I'll just say I would expect Bloodlines 2 to come out before we ever see Skull and Bones. I don't think Bloodlines 2 is ever going to see the light of day.
Half-Life 3?
No, there's more possibility there, I think. But oh my god. Let's go down and talk about PAX Online.
Sure, yeah.
Dice Legacy, Ringworld. Is that Ringworld?
So if you tune into PAX Online, they were doing kind of like an indie panel showcase, which was actually really cool. So it was supposed to be PAX East, but again, with the planning and whatnot, they decided to push back. Their first event will be PAX Prime, which I think is a big question mark right now as well. Hopefully people stay safe with that one. But with PAX Online. One of the games they were looking at was called Dice Legacy. It's basically it's not of the Ringworld universe, but it's you'd have to watch the trailer to fully understand. But basically, think like the Halo Ringworld.
Yeah. I just looked at it. It looks interesting.
Yeah, but it's set like with a fantasy element. So it's basically like in space is this giant ring, and inside the ring is this constant not evolving, but this world, this fantasy world, and you have visible dice rolls, and basically your dice rolls are your resources. Yeah. So if you've ever played
Explorers Guild one.
Yeah.
The Explorer one.
But basically, like you'll have like say 5 dice, and you'll roll them, and then you can choose which ones you want to play. A 1 in defense, so it'll be a level 1 defense. And then you can have like you roll. You can also use it turns into a knot. So it looks really interesting. It looks like, again, very chill game. It's a very cool looking. It comes out September 9th. So I think it's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. Toonche looks interesting.
Yeah, like it had a neat art style. Yeah, kind of cell shaded art style. The thing that it's like, ooh, this is really interesting. It's based on Peruvian legends, apparently.
Yeah, that was cool. I was just looking at that, and it's all based on like Peruvian myth and legend, which I'm not real familiar with. So I love the idea of playing something in that. Just it's a different mythos than Western.
Yeah,
German,
it's not
medieval.
not a traditional that we usually see. So it's like, oh, okay, like I'll keep an eye on it and see what comes from it. Falling Frontier, it looks like another cool. Space art 4X RTS. It looks beautiful.
It looks very nice.
I don't think we have a date for that, but yeah, again, another really cool looking thing. In like any other 4X RTS,
nice, you can 4X RTS.
Zoom in really far. You can kind of choose the micromanaging level that you want to deal with. So think like Stellaris and that kind of. So I'd say it's a very, very graphically beautiful looking game versus Stellaris. Like not like Stellaris is bad, but it's definitely it's designed to just like kind of be looked at afar. Whereas Fallen Frontier, it definitely like at least the way they were presenting it is like you zoom in and you're like Star Citizen levels of like graphics of your ships and what it's like ooh. So it's kind of made my radar. We have another one.
Mutationum looks cool. I've seen stuff on this before. This looks very cool. It's like I can't tell if it's a RPG or a point and click adventure, or maybe a little bit of both, which I would love.
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. It's a cyberpunk action adventure RPG with both a 2D and 3D retro bit, stylization to it.
It's beautiful. It's
and you kind of have like the 2D side scrolling, but then it'll like shift and it goes into kind of like this 3D mode, and so again, it's like very cool looking. It's it definitely again made my radar. So I definitely want to see more of it.
For sure.
And then the last one that caught my interest was called Dwarf Romantic. I think you talked about this, didn't you?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a Zen kind of tile game. I saw it on Steam. I haven't picked this up yet, but I watched a couple people play it, and it's like you said, it's like Carcassonne. Christ, what's that other one everybody plays? The merchant one. You know the one I'm talking about. It's that board game everyone plays with the tiles. It is like wheat and son of a bitch.
Catan.
Yeah, it kind of has that look to me a little bit. But yeah, no, I haven't played it yet. I will probably be checking that out, possibly on my 2 weeks off, just because I used to love playing Carcassonne when I was little, or Carcassonne. How the hell do you say that?
I could never pronounce like Carcassonne. Yeah, I think. I was looking at it like.
Yeah, I used to have a PC game of that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the hell out of that game.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's definitely some really neat stuff coming out. It's like you said, I feel like we're finally getting into that mid to end year stride where they really start rolling out some of the big hitters. Like I'm looking forward to. September, we got the new Pathfinder game coming out, which I'm totally pumped for. Nice. Kingmaker is a fantastic isometric RPG. If you haven't played, you can get like, the director's cut edition now that does like turn-based strategic combat, which I love, instead of like the more Baldur's Gate, where it's just live and you're mashing buttons and hitting pause. Whereas this, you could set it to a more traditional D&D. You move, then make your action. It's very good, very, very good. So I'm excited for that. There's a couple other ones coming out. I don't remember, but I'm sure we'll get into it on the next show.
Definitely for me. In the big ones I'm kind of looking for. Recently, obviously, Tribes of Midgard just came out, but in 2 weeks, we have Icarus, which is a space survival. It has a really awesome like live action trailer to it. I highly recommend just checking it out to get a feel for what they're looking to get with the game.
It looks nice. God damn.
Yeah, but it's survival game, so you take that as well. But basically, it's more around like kind of like these quick missions. So unlike the others where it's like you're constantly building up bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and so you have like huge mega base. This is designed to you're going on missions on these kind of timed missions to the planet.
I love that idea.
So it's very much like like I'd almost say like Tribes of Midgard style, where it's not to say you're starting from zero. With this one, like you're definitely designed to like skill up. Yeah, exactly. You skill up, you come back with like better equipment because you're selling the super rare unobtainium or whatever it is, and you come back with like better stuff and build better. And I think you're coming back to the same planet, so you could actually find like your previous huts that you might be building. So in theory, you could actually continue to build on something that's already existing. I think.
Fascinating.
But yeah, it's looking really, really cool. I'm liking the look of it. The devs have done a ton of like live streams and behind the scenes stuff.
Now, is this going to be a live release or early access?
No, I believe it's 1.0, like a live full on release, no like early access as far as I can tell.
Perfect timing.
I know
that on my off time.
There you go. So I'm looking for that in 2 weeks. I think it drops the 12th. I think it's the 12th. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And again, it could be some space shenanigans. I will absolutely be streaming that when it comes out.
Hell yeah. Yeah. So I mean, we're hitting that stride. Things are getting to that point, and I think we are getting pretty much to that point. We still had a bunch of E3 stuff to cover, but I think at this point it's been covered.
Yeah, it's been covered.
Pretty verbatim.
The big list was just like things that were like oh yeah, it's like looking interesting, but yeah, I don't think there's. Let me look through the list if there's anything else that was like yeah, we got to really keep an eye on this. But I think Icarus was basically it.
Yeah, Icarus.
I think that was it. Yeah, we talked about
Humankind.
Nintendo.
I think Humankind's the other one I'm looking forward to, and that comes out in August, I think.
Oh, okay. Was that early access right now? Is that because I know?
Yeah, it's early access right now. Or no, maybe that one's not. I might be thinking of the Old World is early access right now. Or actually, Old World might be live now too.
Well, no, it's been going through beta. It's the beta weekend, so I think
that's what it is.
Launches
it looks
in September.
Great. Yeah, Humankind looks really, really good.
Cool.
So I'm looking forward to that. And then that will bring us to the end of episode 77. It has been a little while since our last cast. Now that I'm kind of resetting both on the employment front and just taking some time to relax, I'm definitely looking forward to getting back into a more regular cadence for casting. It's just been very crazy with mainly some work stuff, but some life stuff too. But it finally seems like we're getting to that point where the kids are going to be back in school. And I'll start having some more time to do, I mean, I plan on being more regular from this point on, but we'll see. Gotta eat more fiber.
Fiber.
Other than that, folks, we hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, check out our pals, Bad Fodder Figures. It's a great cast. They go live Sunday nights at 9. You can watch them on Twitch. Thank you, everybody that listens to the show. As always, whatever venue you listen to us on, those 5-star ratings really, really help us out. And get more people to check out the show, so please go do that. We really, really appreciate it. And then, if you want to chat with us, you can call our voicemail line. Fred, we did get your voicemail, but as usual, Banana and Discord and everything else just being a major pain in the ass. But I will work on either we'll play it next time, or I'll add it in as just a post edit. And when we, edit this episode, we'll figure it out. Thank you for calling in, man. We missed you. We're glad to hear you well. And if you want to call in like Fred, you can call 610-810-1654. And then if you want to reach us on Facebook, come hang out in the Save Point, tiny.cc/SavePoint. You can email me, or you can email us, theretrorents@gmail.com. You can email, or you can talk to us on Twitter. I'm at RetroRentsAl. Nick is at Black Eagle Ops. You can tweet the show at TheRetroRents. And always check out Nick's Twitch, Black Eagle Ops. Always fun to hop on there and lurk. And you got such a great little community on there, man. I know I say it a lot, but they're such a fun bunch. And it's always great to just come and hang out with y'all.
Yeah. Just like we're just looking to have a good time, just enjoy games, and yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So until next time, we hope you enjoyed episode 77. Have fun, play games, and don't be dicks and get your shots.
Peace.
See ya and bye, Chris.